Hello, everybody. It's Dispeller. Hope you are having a wonderful morning, day, whatever it is there, evening, if it might be evening there. We, of course, are here to do our Dealing with People You Can't Stand book. And today's reading will be The Nothing Person. You can see in the little illustration, people aren't super impressed and they're waiting for an answer below. Ho-hum, when are they going to ever decide? And the other lady, I think that's a lady, yeah, she's sleeping. She's waiting for him to finally wake up and say something. It says, waiting for the nothing person to respond. Yeah. Okay, so before I begin, yes, this is a belly dancing skirt that I have around my neck. Doesn't it make a nice little collar, though? It's so cool. Today, I am repurposeful dispeller. I am repurposing my belly dancing skirt to make my shirt look embellished and beautiful. Because I can, that's why. And I'm weird like that. And yes, I can do pot holders for yarmulkes or kippas for my head. Whatever I want to do. Because guess what? This is life. Life is short. It's my life. And I'm going to do what I want to do. But of course, I'm going to honor all of y'all along the way to take the journey with me. No fighting. Be nice, Momo. You guys can share the window. You don't need to fight over it. Look at what's going on over here. These two up on the piano. Can you see that, or is that too bright? They're about to get into a scuffle here. Momo, you don't need to own the window. Hang on. I'm going to break up this fight before it starts. Put this. Come here, man. Come here, buddy. You can sit over here. You can sit over here. There's a window for you to look out. See? Here you go. Momo, behave. Be nice. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to take you guys along the way with me, like I said, on my little journey. Hope you enjoyed my song I did this morning. I know it might not make a lot of sense to people. It's a Jewish song, and you may not be Jewish. But the point is that God is going to make you a blessing wherever you go. He's going to be with you. No matter what you're going through, He's there. That's the point of that song. And it was also to let me try my hand at being a one-man band, so to speak, one-woman band, whatever. It just sounds better to say one-man band because that's what the name of it is. And it worked out pretty nice from what I heard. I went back and listened. I was pretty impressed. I thought it turned out good considering. Okay, so anyway, let's get right into the reading. And, of course, we'll have a discussion. If you want to leave comments in the side chat over here or here, wherever it is for you, please do. I will be happy to keep on looking over and seeing if I need to respond to anybody or anything like that. All right. And we'll have a discussion time at the end. If anybody has any takeaways or input that you want to share, you can do that then. All right. Based on how the response I get doing it this way, I may do the next book as just uploads because what's the point? You know? Okay, nothing person. Ray walked into Sam's office and he sat down on the couch across from him. Sam didn't even look up to acknowledge Ray's presence. Look, Sam, you can keep this up. You can't keep this up forever. Talk to me. Whatever it is you're upset about, we can work it out if you'll just give it a chance. Sam continued to browse through his journal. Ray thought he saw a flicker of interest on Sam's face, but then it passed. Impatiently, Ray shouted, "Come on, Sam. The whole project is stalled out because you're sitting on the numbers. I can't keep putting people off. I've run out of excuses and interest is flagging." Sam slowly pushed his chair away from his desk, rose to his feet, and started across the room. Ray, believing that a breakthrough was at hand, rose to meet him. But as Sam neared the couch, he veered to his left and walked over to a pencil sharpener on top of his bookcase. "Too bad," he muttered. Ray glared at him, shook his head, and thought, why does he have to act like that? What did I do to deserve this? Sam is the person you find waiting to hear from at one time or another. And what do you get for your patience and perseverance? Hi, Hannah. Generally nothing. No verbal feedback. No nonverbal feedback. Nothing. Mouth sealed shut. The nothing person stares past you as if you're not there. When you look through the lens of understanding, nothing people's behavior begins to make sense. Nothing people are passive, but they can be task-focused or people-focused, dependent on the thwarted intent. Get it right or get along. When the intent to get along is threatened or thwarted, shy, quiet, or thoughtful people tend to withdraw and become even more passive. Silence is, after all, the ultimate passive response. Some get along people withdraw out of fear of rocking the boat, stirring things up, making waves, and getting thrown overboard. We all have those moments when we bite our lip and say nothing. When we convince ourselves it will accomplish nothing to speak up. When we fear that someone's feelings will be hurt if we speak. When we stop ourselves from saying something we'll regret later. Everybody knows if you don't have something nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all. Get along. Nothing people don't and won't. Good to see you, Hannah. Very good to see you. By the way, yes, I will be using this around my waist eventually to actually do belly dancing. That's in the works. So stand by. It will happen. Okay. Get it right. Nothing people seek perfection, but nothing measures up. They may decide that no one else cares about avoiding mistakes as much as they do, and that nothing will change that condition no matter what they say. They get frustrated and finally withdraw with the thought, fine, do it your way. Don't come crying to me when it doesn't work out. Then they shut up and shut down. They can think of nothing that can be done. Although nothing people seem to withdraw from conflict, inside they can be a boiling cauldron of simmering hostility that occasionally boils over. Perhaps you've been around people who were breaking pencils or throwing them and slamming drawers and doors. When asked what's wrong, they answer, nothing. Another person asks, is everything all right? And they answer, everything is fine. A passive-aggressive acronym for frustrated, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. While passive-aggressive nothing people may be furious about what's going wrong, they're considerate enough to try to prevent their emotional hostility from damaging anyone else. This explains their abuse of inanimate objects like pencils and doors. Silence, then, can be a kind of aggression kept under wraps. So let's look where the nothing person falls here on this little chart. If I can get it straight here for you to see it. They fall into the approval section. They want to get your approval, so rather than say anything that might rock the boat, they say nothing. You'd better adjust your attitude. To make certain that nothing you do makes matters worse when nothing people are at their worst, you must find a way to slow yourself down. The biggest challenge is to find and take the time when you are in the get-it-done mode, and there isn't much time. Perhaps you've experienced the frustration of wanting to move quickly toward a goal, only to have nothing people slow you down. The frustration can easily turn into aggressive communication, which will guarantee that you'll get nothing out of them. And impatience with get-along nothing people who are trying to avoid conflict and disapproval will likely defeat your purpose and drive them further into nothingness. That's one of the most common mistakes parents make with their children. Nothing behavior is the best trick children have. Intense communications directed at children by frustrated parents are likely to silence the children and further frustrate the parents, who may then escalate with greater intensity, which drives the children further away. The children become too preoccupied with finding shelter from the verbal bombshells to pay much attention to what is actually being said. In the short term, nothing is accomplished, and in the long term, the fallout damages the relationship. I remember raising my children, and my foster mom taught me when they start escalating and screaming and yelling and doing whatever children do, instead of screaming back at them, you crunch down like into a little, what do you call that position? Why can't I think now? Like a plie position, but that's not what I'm trying to say. It's not a crunch, a squat. You squat down to their eye level. And for instance, if they're, I don't know, supposed to do their room, they're supposed to clean their room, because that's notoriously what children hate doing. Instead of saying, I told you to clean your room. How many times do I have to tell you? Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm telling you this again. That was me at first. And then my foster mom taught me to do this. Get down on their eye level and say, honey, I notice you haven't done your room yet. And I know you want to go outside, and I'm happy to let you go outside, but first the room needs to be done. Okay? And that's how you get it done. I'm not saying it always works, but that works better than screaming in their face. That's not going to get you anywhere. They're going to shut down, ignore you, and yeah, ma, okay, whatever you say, and not do it pretty much. Okay. The same principle is at work in adult relationships. If you lose your temper with people who have low assertiveness, you can count on diminishing returns in communication. Since impatience and frustration drive nothing people deeper into nothingness, it is essential that you look and sound like you have all the time in the world. The internal resource that produces that outward appearance is relaxation. Take the time to compose yourself before attempting to communicate. To get something from nothing people, you must be calm and relaxed. Another helpful resource is intuition. The best way to develop your intuition is to try to see the world through another's eyes. Another way to develop intuition is to assume a similar body posture and facial expression as another person, and then you observe your emotional state and thoughts. You may be surprised at how well you can understand and communicate with nothing people using this method. Welcome to any of the new people that just came in. Your goal: persuade nothing to people to talk. Regardless of why nothing people tell you nothing, your goal is to persuade them to talk. That's not only possible, but it's also probable, because when you use this strategy, nothing can't stop you. Okay. Option 1, plan enough time. Hostile nothing people may push you up against your deadline. You need information badly, you've got it. You want it, so they won't give it to you. For this reason, protect yourself if possible by planning ahead. Dealing successfully with nothing people may take a long time. If you're tense and intense because of limited time, it's the wrong time. If you've committed yourself to open communication with people who are closed, your time allotment may have to include more than one slot on your monthly calendar. We recommend that you plan a few 15-minute communication opportunities with your nothing people. That way, if at first you don't succeed, you can keep coming back to try. Once they get the message that you're not giving up, they may open up just to get you to quit showing up. That definitely makes some sense to me. Option 2, ask open-ended questions expectantly. The best kind of question to ask a nothing person is one that can't be answered with a yes, a no, or a grunt. We suggest that you use questions that begin with the words who, what, where, when, and how, because they tend to open topics for discussion with a request for specific information about nothing people's thoughts. For example, what are you thinking and how do you want to proceed? And where shall we go from here? Have a greater chance of success than, do you like that? Are we going to get your information soon? Or can you tell me? Okay. That's logical. It does make sense why that would get more of a response, because they almost have to respond. However, it isn't what you ask, but how you ask it that makes all the difference in the world. When you ask the question, make certain that your nonverbals are also asking for a response. We recommend that you look and sound like you're about to get an answer. We call this the expectant look, and it's a nonverbal skill based on the idea that you get what you expect, even though it often takes more time than you would prefer. Try this now if no one is looking. Raise your eyebrows, open your mouth slightly, tilt your head to the side, and lean forward a little as if you just asked a question. At any moment, you expect an answer. So raise your eyebrows, open your mouth slightly, tilt your head to the side, and lean forward. So like this. I guess. And this is what they show you for the pictures. It doesn't even look like they're doing that. There's their illustrations. Maybe the guy looks more like it, but the woman just, I don't know. She looks kind of like out of it. I don't know. Anyhow. Okay. When you ask the nothing person your open-ended question, you may have to persist in looking at them expectantly for a longer period of time than you would with normal human beings. It may help you to pass the time. If in your mind's eye you imagine that you can see the words marching up the back of their throat, through their mouth, and out to the tip of their tongue, where any second now they're going to open their mouth and give you that answer. I can definitely picture that. My husband does tend to be a nothing person sometimes, especially if he's deep in thought about something. But I may have like something very important to ask him about the bills or whatever that we need to pay. And he'll just be like ignoring me. And I'll be like, honey. I'll be like, what? And then he'll blow up, usually get mad at me. But I'll get an answer. Which is probably not the best way to do it. Beware. You won't want this to become a staring match. If at first you don't succeed, review what's happening so far, which isn't much, and then ask your question again. Here's an example. A moment ago, I asked you what's going on, and you didn't answer. I'm still wondering what's going on. At last, pressure builds to a point where the nothing person feels compelled by your behavior to answer you. You see their mouth open, and out comes the typical response, which is nothing, or I don't know. If a nothing person says nothing, then you can say, what else? If the nothing person says, I don't know, then you can say, guess, or make something up, or if you did know, what would it be? Give the nothing person your best expectant look. You'll be surprised at how effective this can be with both adults and children. Try it the next time anyone says, I don't know. It's amazing how quickly people come up with something to say only moments after claiming they knew nothing. This is so funny because this is so my relationship with my husband. It really is. And he's always the one to say, I don't know. And I always say, and I don't know is an answer. Before I even finish finding out what he's going to answer, I'm like, so what do you want to do at 5 o'clock? And he'll say, I don't know. So before he says, I don't know, I'm like, what do you want to do at 5 o'clock? And I don't know is not an answer. And I'll be like, so he has to answer me. It's pretty funny. Okay. Anyway, lighten it up. When nothing else is working, a little humor, carefully used, goes a long way. Making absurd, exaggerated, and impossible guesses about the cause of the silence has cracked a smile and broken down the armor of some of the most intransigent nothing people you can imagine. If you can get nothing people to laugh, it ruins the mood. Your next line of offenses against an I don't know could be exaggeration. At a couples seminar, the participant claimed her husband left too many glasses in the sink. We asked her how often and how many, to which she replied, too often and too many. We laughed and asked for a number, and she said, I don't know. We were ready for that, and we asked her to guess, and then we gave her our very best expectant looks. She couldn't resist the look and said again, too often and too many. Since we're convinced that if what we're doing isn't working, we should do something else. That's what we did. We exaggerated. Well, would you say it's 30 glasses a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year? And she said, no, it's probably about 4 glasses 3 times a week. We had to wonder, where were those numbers a moment ago? We still don't know, but we do know that if you exaggerate, people get specific. This is actually a good strategy. Let me know if you decide to try this out on your nothing person and tell me if it worked and what you said. If you can play it back to me, I'd love to hear. Or you might begin guessing yourself. You could say, you're mad because I beat you to the water cooler and it's a full moon, right? Or you could say, I'll talk and you blink once for agreement, twice for disagreement. We've found that with some nothing people, the more outrageous your guesses and suggestions, the sooner they'll speak up and get specific. I think I work with a nothing person, or maybe she's a maybe person. I don't know, but it's kind of like that where she'll talk if she has something to say, but if I want to get an answer out of her, I have to really almost employ one of these strategies. It's kind of challenging. By the way, if you like this video series, this book, Dealing with People You Can't Stand, or any of my other books, videos, series, songs, cat videos, whatever, please hit the thumb for a like. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share with your friends and ring the bell so you don't miss any future uploads. And so that it tells me what kind of uploads you actually enjoy. Thank you for the thumb. Okay, be careful with this sense of humor because it's a two-edged sword. It can inadvertently cut nothing people and yourself, and there's nothing funny about that. Consider yourself warned. If you proceed to use humor and nothing people take offense, don't keep trying to make light of what has become a serious situation. Oh, I see we have a visitor. Au revoir. Apologize immediately and sincerely. Then remind them that your intent is to have a dialogue, not a monologue. Like many kinds of communication, the use of humor is not guaranteed to work in every situation. It is a judgment call on your part, so use it with caution. Option 4, guess. And by the way, I know a lot of people are working right now, so that's probably why they're not here. Or I'm just flat out boring and you don't like the book series, and that's okay too. Whatever. I'm just trying new things, see how it works out. If the nothing person remains silent and nothing else has gotten results, or you want an alternative to option 3, try this. Put yourself in the nothing person's shoes and think back on the course of events as you understand them. What was the sequence, and how else might you interpret that sequence to make positive sense out of this negative silence? Once you've come up with an idea, Suggest it to the nothing person and watch for a reaction. You may think of several possibilities. Just rattle them off. Oh, don't worry about trying to figure out the right one. It won't matter if some of them are inaccurate, so shotgun a bunch of them. Always preface your guesses by saying, I don't know what's going on for you, or I'm just guessing here, but people hate to be told that you know what they're thinking. Oh, that's my husband. I am so guilty of that all the time, so I'm going to be paying rapt attention to this part. But they love it when you guess correctly. If you can hit on near the reason for the silence, you may actually get these people to start talking. At least you'll notice a definite change in their posture or expression. Y'all, pray for me, send good vibes my way that I can learn how to stop telling him how he thinks. I'm so bad about that. I really need to work on that. A state agency referred Becky, a troubled teenage client, to a counselor named Gideon. Becky had dropped out of school, was sleeping all day, and wouldn't talk to anyone, including the counselor. She just sat in his office, shaking her foot, staring out the window. She wouldn't answer any of his questions. Worst of all, she was ignoring his very best expectant look. So the counselor started guessing about the cause of her behavioral change. He said, I don't know what's going on for you, and you certainly aren't going to tell me, but you got me wondering. If I were a teenager sleeping all day, what would be going on for me? I think I'd be avoiding something. Well, what would I be avoiding? Maybe something at school, maybe something at home. At school, let's see. Maybe I wouldn't fit in. Maybe I don't have any real friends. Maybe I think the whole clique thing is dumb. The state urges me to go back to school, but maybe I'm so far behind I'll never be able to catch up. Maybe I'm missing some basic reading and math skills that I'm embarrassed about. Gideon continued. Now, what could I be avoiding at home? Maybe I don't feel cared about. After all, if I dropped out of school and was sleeping all day, but my parents didn't say anything, well, I guess I'd figure they just didn't care very much. After all, it's the state that's making a big deal of it. And I heard you do have a new step-parent. I can see how you would feel left out of that relationship. How did Becky respond to this guessing game? On the counselor's second guess about school, her foot stopped wiggling. That was a good sign because it was the first change in her practiced nothingness in 20 minutes. As Gideon continued, Becky looked up and locked her eyes on his. Then tears welled up in her eyes. And within moments, she was speaking the fears that had been hiding in her heart. If you notice a change in behavior while you're guessing, that's an indicator that you're on the right track. Continue along the same lines, and before you know it, they'll be talking with you. Best of all, even if your guesses miss, people sometimes start talking anyway. It's as if they feel sorry for you because you haven't got a clue about what's really going on, and they decide to give you a break. By walking a mile in the footsteps of another, you reveal the common ground of your humanity. What was that about, Bullman? Come here. Hey, my guy. My BOBO. You going to use me to climb up there, or you going to lay down with me, huh? You going to settle with the mama? You going to settle with the mama? Yeah. Oh, my baby. I think you're tearing my shirt, dude. Okay. Option 5. Show the future. Sometimes the only way to get nothing people talking is to take them out of the moment and into the future. There, they can see the consequences of continued silence, and perhaps they can find enough perspective and motivation to open up. The actual words you use may change depending on your relationship to the nothing person. For the get it right nothing person, you might say, fine, don't talk, blending with what's happening. Just imagine how many things can go wrong and how much time we're going to waste on this project because we didn't have your input. For the get along nothing person, you might say, okay, you don't have to talk, blending, but in the long term, I don't see how our relationship can survive if we don't start to communicate. What you doing, BOBO man? You see the kitty on there? You see him? Oh, where are you going? Where are you going, man? All right, fine. You gonna leave me? Now you gonna plop on my shoulder? Oh, I see you're getting comfortable. Okay. For the get along nothing person at the office, you might say, okay, you don't have to talk, blending, but it sure won't be any fun to work around here if we're all in our own little worlds. Hi, baby. You want to lay down with mama? Yeah, you do, sweet boy. That will certainly kill the team spirit and make for a lot of bad feelings and misunderstandings. For the hostile nothing person who's trying to get you by closing you out, talk about the negative consequences like grievance procedures, going over their head, filling out paperwork, and the like. Good morning, LB. Warning, don't make promises you won't keep. Idle threats teach people you're idling. Ouch. Your goal is to make something out of nothing, not nothing out of something, so that it becomes uncomfortable for the nothing people to remain silent. Sometimes when a nothing person finally does speak up, you may find that it's a case of all or nothing. If you get a lot of seemingly disconnected information, instead of interrupting for clarity's sake, go with it for a while so they can get used to talking aloud. Ow! Don't try to control it. My ear is already pierced, Bobo. You don't have to pierce it again. When nothing people start talking, that's when you need to start listening. What are you doing to the mommy's face, you silly man? Great moments in difficult people history. People might tune in just to see you maul mommy. They might enjoy that. That's some good cat drama. Great moments in difficult people history. This is where we do the little reenactment type stuff that I love. Here. There you go, buddy. Now you could be the star of the show. The power of persistence. You going to demonstrate that? Ray fought the urge to leave. Instead, he relaxed and told himself he had the time and this was worth it. He seized upon this scrap of verbiage and he returned it in a question. What's too bad, Sam? Ask open-ended questions repeatedly. Or expectantly, sorry. What are you doing to my skirt there, buddy? Sam looked at Ray with eyes of steel. Those eyes seemed to soften for a brief instant. Then he braced himself and replied, I don't know. Sam returned to his desk and his journal. Ray said, if you did know, what would it be? Ask questions expectantly. Cat is the star, yes. Ask questions expectantly. Sam looked away, and after a moment of silence, he said, I don't see how anyone thinks we can do a job around here the way we were treated. It's just, he muttered and faded out into silence again. Ray sat there mentally reviewing recent events at the company, and that's when it dawned on him. Sam, I'm just guessing here, but 3 months ago during the reorganization, 2 of our departments were downsized significantly, and budgets were axed. What effect did that have on you? Guess. Ray saw Sam's body language go through an incredible shift. Sam was practically squirming in his seat, and it looked like the pressure was building inside him to speak. But again, Sam braced himself and he glared steely-eyed at his journal. Ray felt that Sam needed a little motivation to open up and talk about whatever had caused him to go silent. So Ray spoke to the future as he said, if I've guessed right about this and you found that shrinking budget and loss of personnel to be tough to deal with, then think about this. Without that information you're withholding, more people will lose their jobs, and people right here in this company who you've known for years are going to have their futures put at risk, all because you didn't do the right thing. You may think you have a good reason for being silent now, but how will that reason of yours hold up later? Show the future. Come on, Sam, what's going on? Sam opened the floodgates and a torrent of bad feelings and apprehension washed through the room. It was obvious that Sam had been suffering in his silence. Ray let him talk, and when it was all said, Sam yielded the badly needed information like a shy little boy. Ray, happy to have brought a little light to the situation, thanked him for his honesty and left him alone with his thoughts. The Great Foot Fire. The speaker was brought in by a state agency to give a motivational presentation to 8 of their most hopeless cases. None of the speaker's audience involvement strategies was working very well. As far as these teenagers were concerned, he was just another authority figure, and when he looked around the room, all he saw were 8 hostile nothing people with no interest in hearing a word of it. He had his back to the writing on the board, and when he suddenly smelled smoke, he turned around to find their ringleader, Eric, grinning at him. Eric had set his own shoelaces on fire. The laces were burning like incense, and the teenager was sitting there with his legs crossed, grinning. The speaker didn't want to be another authority figure in a long line of authority figures whom these kids had rebelled against. So instead, he looked the boy right in the eyes and smiled and said, I heard you were hot, but you're smoking today, dude. Lighten it up. Then the speaker went back to writing on the board, picking up where he left off as if everything were normal. The kids all laughed, and the boy put out the fire. When the speaker turned around again, he had 8 allies who were ready to participate and learn. That's because they were waiting for the next jokey thing he was going to say. I guarantee they probably weren't interested in anything he was talking about. Kind of like me. I'm reading this boring book that some people could care less about. But when this cat starts grabbing my face and yanking my ear and trying to re-pierce it, Everybody's attention is gotten for a moment, and then you go back to whatever you were doing. Fair enough. Man, I'll tell you, this post-COVID guck is ridiculous. Okay, when someone becomes a nothing person, your goal, this is the end of it, by the way, persuade the nothing person to talk. 1, plan enough time. 2, ask open-ended questions expectantly. 3, lighten it up. 4, guess. And 5, show the future. That is the end of that chapter. Ooh, the next one's going to be the whiner. I can't wait to do that one. But not today. Today is done. Anyway, anybody have any takeaways, comments, things you want to say, questions you want to ask, things you want to talk about? Now is your time. Bobo Man has gone to sleep. He is snoozing comfortably here. Let me see if I can get you a closer picture here without waking him up. He gets a little weirded out by the camera. He doesn't like it very much if he knows he's being filmed. But there he is. There's the sweet Bobo Man. There's the Bobo Man, so sweet. Just my baby. Oh, I love you so much, Bo. And he's Daddy's baby, too. Anyway. Man, this is ridiculous. Oh, my boy. So that's about it, y'all, for that chapter. Anybody got plans for the weekend? I'm going to be lighting my candles in a few hours and bringing in the Shabbat for tomorrow. That'll be fun. Probably make some kind of treat. I don't know what, but something good. Because it is a Rev Shabbat and tomorrow's Shabbat. So that's what we do when that comes up. Anywho's. Yeah, I'm probably going to do some belly dancing today. I might even film it. So be looking for a belly dancing video, possibly, if you like. Those of you that like the belly dancing, you can tune in for that later. And I guess that's it. Since nobody wants to talk, I guess we'll head off. Yes, I appreciate you all being here. And I appreciate all of you who watch later on. Because I know more of you watch later on, probably after work or when you have some free time. Then do come in the room and join me firsthand. And that's okay. Which is why I think uploads might be a better idea for the most part. And then if there was enough interest in the upload material, I could always have like a once a week chat session about whatever it is I'm reading. That might be the way to go. I might try that next. Because this format of being live and live streaming with nobody really talking much, it's kind of boring. So, yeah, I'm not feeling it, y'all. Not feeling it. All right. I'm going to get going. I've got some more cleaning to do. Pretty much done with the living room. You guys, pray I get a vacuum cleaner because I'll tell you, a broom, even a push broom, doesn't do squat for getting crumbs and hay and everything else off of this carpet. It's a little better, but it's not the precision cleanup that I would like to do on my carpet. I don't have the proper equipment, so what am I going to do? Just get on my hands and knees with a broom all day and sweep every crumb up? I don't have time for that. I got too much other cleaning to do. So pray me in a vacuum, y'all. Wish me in a vacuum. You know, good thought me in a vacuum. Program it over here this way. I'm hoping for a wet vac next time because my foster mom said with the type of house I have, it'd probably be better to have like a deep cleaning type thing. So that's what I'm believing for. Yeah. So anywho, everybody says goodbye. Bobo says goodbye. Bye, everybody. Bye from the Bullman. Bye from the Bullman. He's such a sweet boy. All right. Oh, he's actually waving, looking with his paw. You putting your paw up and saying, wow, bye. Bye, peoples. Bye. Have a great day, everybody. And shalom.